Yo, what up, dudes and dudettes? Chris K here, and this time I decided to do a creepy video. And what I'm gonna do in this video is I'm gonna read a couple of scary stories on my tablet. I always wanted to do a video like this. I don't even know why, but I've always wanted to. And yeah, I'm just gonna jump right into it. Now I'm gonna start with one that's actually kind of funny, in my opinion. Like, it's one of those that starts off scary, but then it turns out to be it actually makes you laugh at the end. Anyways, these are uh, urban legends. At least that's what the category is on this Scary Story app. Anyways, this one is called You Can't Get Out. Alright. One dark, windy night, the town drunk was meandering his way home after the bar closed. Somehow, he got turned around and ended up walking through the churchyard instead of taking the road home. The wind picked up, and he thought he could hear a voice calling his name. Suddenly, the ground opened up in front of him, and he fell down into an open grave. He could hear the voice clear now, calling to him. He knew it was the devil coming for him, just like the preacher said, on account of him being the town drunk. The hole was very deep, and inside it was pitch black. His eyes adjusted to the darkness after a few moments, and he made out a form sitting in the darkness with him. It called his name, and then he scrambled away in fear, trying to climb out of that terrible grave. Then the figure spoke. "You can't get out," it said. The drunk gave a shout of pure terror and leapt straight up more than 6 feet. He caught the edge of the hole in his hand, scrambled out, and ran us home as fast as he can. Inside the open grave, his neighbor, Charlie, sighed in resignation. He had fallen into the hole a few minutes before his friend and had thought that together they might help each other climb out. And now he was going to have to wait until the next morning and get the mortician to bring him a ladder. The end. It's always, that last part gets me every time. Oh, I love that one. Ooh, and this one, I like this one. If you heard what I just heard, don't worry. It's just we have a lot of animals in our house. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Alright, this next one is called The Old Bridge. And it's a long one. It's a long one. Okay. Old Man McManor was the foulest-tempered fellow you ever did see. But he owned and operated the only sawmill over in Camden, so folks had to deal with him. Whenever anyone didn't pay on time or crossed him, he'd take out his horsewhip and flail it at him until they ran away cussing or broke down crying. Oh, this is starting off well, ain't it? One evening, McManor was out riding when a coyote scared his horse and it bolted. McManor was thrown down next to the bridge by the sawmill, and his head broke right open. Careful around bridges. There you go. And he died instantly. There was a general sigh of relief when the sawmill was taken over by a nice fellow who'd moved to Texas from Kansas. Everyone thought they'd seen the last of McManor until one night when Jerry Jones, an old enemy of McManor, made his way home via the old sawmill bridge after drinking at the tavern. How much you want to bet he sees something weird and thought it was the booze talking? Did I even read this one? I think I might have. I'm not sure. Anyway, where was I? Okay. Jerry was halfway across the old bridge when a plume of green steam came rising up through the boards of the bridge. He stopped and watched the mist solidify. Solidify. There you go. Watch the mist solidify into the translucent body of Old Man McManor. I know the way I'm reading kind of ruins the scariness of it. Anyway. The specter flourished his whip at poor drunken Jerry, who screamed in terror and went running back the way he came, with the ghost hard on his heels. When Jerry reached the giant pecan tree that shaded the road, the ghost of Old Man McManor vanished at once, with another popping sound. Since Jerry had a reputation for drinking, no one believed his story, until the ghost challenged the local parson that Sunday and didn't stop till the preacher recited some scripture. McManor continued to harass the townspeople for years, until the First World War, when folks began driving cars that were fast enough that the ghost couldn't catch them. Folks figured that the ghost would give up haunting the bridge after the town got so modern. But mean old McManor still had one last hurrah in him, and it was a doozy. The local football team was driving home in the bus one night after winning a big game. Congratulations. When all at once the bus stalled right in front of McManor's bridge. Well, the boys started joking around about the ghost until they noticed that the road outside was glowing green. The boys nudged one another nervously, and they turned to look out near the rear window of the bus, right into the twisted smile of Old Man McManor. The boys started shrieking, the teachers chiming in just as loud, and the ghost of Old Man McManor lifted up the back of the bus as if it weighed no more than a rabbit. The team tumbled out of their seats, screaming and praying, and the football coach bravely climbed up the sloping aisle, waving a fist at the ghost in the strange pulsing green light. Then the sheriff came roaring over the bridge on the opposite side of the road, as soon as his headlights illuminated the ghost holding the bus. Old Man McManor vanished with a popping sound. The sheriff slammed on his brakes in shock as the school bus and team crashed to the ground. It wasn't long after this event that they built a new highway and the old bridge was torn down. The ghost of Old Man McManor hasn't been seen since. I kind of like that one. The ones where they're like, there's something, ghost is haunting this one thing, but we tore it down and now they're not there anymore. Well, here's one that I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard. But for those who haven't heard it, I'll read it. It's called The Hook. The reports had been on the radio all day, though she hadn't paid much attention to them. Some crazy man had escaped from the state asylum. They were calling him the Hook Man, since he had lost his right arm and had been replaced with a hook. He was a killer, and everyone in the region was warned to keep watch and report anything suspicious. But this didn't interest her. She was more worried about what to wear on her date. After several consultation calls with friends, she chose a blue outfit in the very latest style and was ready and waiting on the porch when her boyfriend came to pick her up in his car. They went to a drive-in movie with another couple, then dropped them off and went parking in the local lover's lane. The blue outfit was a hit, and she cuddled close to her boyfriend as they kissed to the sound of the romantic music on the radio. Aww. Then the announcer came on and repeated the warning she had heard that afternoon. Way to ruin the moment. An insane killer with a hook in place of his right hand was loose in the area. Suddenly, the dark, moonless night didn't seem so romantic to her. The lover's lane was secluded and off the beaten track. A perfect spot for a deranged madman to lurk, she thought, pushing her amorous boyfriend away. Maybe we should get out of here, she said. That hook man sounds dangerous. Aw, come on, babe, it's nothing, her boyfriend said, trying to get in another kiss. She pushed him away again. No, really, we're all alone out here. I'm scared, she said. They argued for a moment, then the car shook a bit, as if something or someone had touched it. She gave a shriek and said, Get us out of here, now! Jeez, her boyfriend said in disgust. But he turned the key and went roaring out of the lover's lane with a screeching of his tires. They drove home in stony silence, and when they pulled into her driveway, he refused to help her out of the car. Rude. He was being so unreasonable, she fumed to herself. She opened the door indignantly and stepped out into her driveway, with her chin up and her lips set. Whirling around, she slammed the door as hard as she could, and then she screamed. Her boyfriend leapt out of the car and caught her in his arms. What is it? What's wrong? He shouted, and then he saw it. A bloody hook hung from the handle of the passenger side door. The end. Hey, I think I might read one more before I end this video. I don't want my phone to do what it normally does and just cuts my videos off due to storage. Let's see. This one. Oh, that one's a long one. Never mind. How long is this one? Advertisement. Advertisements. I hate advertisements. Don't you? Shush. Oh, why not? I'll read it. When Felix Angus put up the life-sized, shrouded bronze statue of a grieving angel seated on a pedestal in the Angus family plot in the Druid Ridge Cemetery, he had no idea what he had started. They never do, don't they? The statue was a rather eerie figure by day, frozen in a moment of grief and terrible pain. At night, the figure was almost unbelievably creepy. The shroud over its head obscuring the face until you were up close to it. There was a living air about the grieving angel, as if its arms could really reach out and grab you if you weren't careful. It didn't take long for rumors to sweep through the town and surrounding countryside. They said that the statue, nicknamed Black Aggie, was haunted by the spirit of a mistreated wife who lay beneath her feet. The statue's eyes would glow red at the stroke of midnight, and any living person who returned the statue's gaze would instantly be struck blind. Any pregnant woman who passed through her shadow would miscarry. If you sat on her lap at night, the statue would come up to life and crush you to death in her dark embrace. If you spoke Black Aggie's name 3 times at midnight in front of a dark mirror, the evil angel would appear and pull you down to hell. They also said that spirits of the dead would rise from their graves on dark nights to gather around the statue at night. I'm starting to get Bloody Mary vibes, don't you? Aren't you? And I forgot to mention the story's called Black Aggie, because that's the name of the statue. People began visiting the cemetery just to see the statue. And it was then that the local fraternity decided to make the statue of grief part of their initiation rites. That's messed up. Black Aggie sitting where candidates for membership had to spend the night, crouched beneath the statue with their backs to the grave of General Angus, became popular. One dark night, two fraternity members accompanied new hopeful to the cemetery and watched while he took his place underneath the creepy statue. The clouds had obscured the moon that night, and the whole area surrounding the dark statue was filled with a sense of anger and malice. It felt as if a storm were brewing in that part of the cemetery. And to their chagrin, the two fraternity members noticed that gray shadows seemed to be clustering around the body of the frightened fraternity candidate crouching in front of the statue. What had been a funny initiation rite suddenly took on an air of danger. One of the fraternity brothers stepped forward in alarm to call out to the initiate. As he did, the statue above the boy stirred ominously. The two fraternity brothers froze in shock as the shrouded head turned toward the new candidate. They saw the gleam of glowing red eyes beneath the concealing hood as the statue's arms reached toward the cowering boy. With shouts of alarm, the fraternity brothers leapt forward to rescue the new initiate. But it was too late. The initiate gave one horrified yell, and then his body disappeared into the embrace of the dark angel. The fraternity brothers skidded to a halt as the statue thoughtfully rested its glowing eyes upon them. With gasps of terror, the boys fled from the cemetery before the statue could grab them too. Hearing the screams, a night watchman hurried to the Angus plot. To his chagrin, he discovered the body of a young man lying at the foot of the statue. The young man had apparently died of fright. The disruption caused by the statue grew so acute that the Angus family finally donated it to the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. The grieving angel sat for many years in storage there, never again to plague the citizens visiting the Druid Hill Park Cemetery. The end. Okay. Also, it says that the statue was in storage there. I wish I could actually go see it for myself, honestly. Wouldn't you want to go see it? I would. Anyways, I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to try to do at least some of the actual YouTuber outro. Thank you guys for watching this. If you like it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you dudes and dudettes in the next video.